Okay, we're live. All right. Welcome everyone. If you're just joining me for the first time, my name is Miss Blessing. This is I Teach You Music. I didn't even know that I've been recording or I've been live since. Okay, so yeah. So welcome to today's live stream. Um, okay. So I'm just trying to set up everything before our trainer comes in. Yeah, so if this is your first time here, please click on the like, subscribe, and share button. Um, I'm trying to arrange myself. I'm trying to see if we have everything in place. I don't want anything missing. I don't want anybody to be left out. Hi. Oh, it's Charity. I can see some people are here already. That's good. That's good. Okay, I'm just going to share the link to everybody in the group so that everybody can quickly join in. So those of you that are looking for the YouTube link, um, okay, I'm live now, so you all can join. Okay, so I'm live now. You all can join. Let me also put this on the WhatsApp channel so everybody. So those of you that are supposed to be on Zoom, quickly come and join the Zoom call because people have the opportunity to ask questions freely. Yeah, you people have the opportunity to ask questions. So if you're supposed to be on the Zoom call, please come in now and come and join. Um, uh, okay. Welcome everybody. Welcome everybody. Forgive me. I'm just trying to set up. I know I'm in earlier than, yeah. Auntie English, hi, good evening. I said today, let me not leave anybody outside. Please, people should not miss today. If you have anything doing, just keep it, all right, just keep it one place because today is going to be good, trust me. I know what I'm saying. The person that is coming in to teach us, hello, Chinedu Wore. Okay, welcome to the live stream. Welcome to the live stream. I'm trying to just let everybody in as quickly as possible. Let me see if, yeah, I'm trying to let everybody in as quickly as possible. If you're just joining, welcome to the live stream. Just relax, all right? You all should relax because you're gonna be saying a lot. You're gonna be saying a lot. All right, so hi, Miss Uju. Do me a favor. You can turn off your video. Thank you. Because whatever you're showing now is going to be showing in the live stream. So you can turn off your video. Just join in with your this thing. Good evening, Favor Adeyemi. Okay. So you see what I'm saying. So please, if you're just joining, do me a favor, just relax yourself. Find popcorn, right? Find popcorn and eat, and just keep by your side with water. Find popcorn, keep by your side with water. Because we are going to be doing a lot. And let me just quickly open the room so everyone can join in. Please, if you're just joining, mute your microphone, please. Immediately you join in. Wait, let me just find that participants can unmute themselves. I'm just going to turn that off. So everyone turns off their microphone joining in. Okay, so welcome everybody. Welcome everybody. Hi, Miss Carolina. Thank you, Miss Faith. Hello, Mr. Dolapo. Hello, Patrick Udoma. All of you that are on the YouTube live stream. I'm so sorry. I might not really be calling your names because the people that are in the VIP room are the people I'm going to be calling the most. Okay, so welcome anyways. It's good to have you all in the live stream. I am very excited to have you all here. Yeah, hello, Mr. Peter. Oh, yes, Mr. Peter, it's good to have you here as well. Um, yeah. Okay, it's good to have you all here as well. I'm trying to do two things at the same time. Me, I'm multitasking five and six. Okay, so quickly before, yeah, good evening, everybody. Good evening, everybody. So quickly before we go ahead and start the live stream, Yeah, thank you. High School Academy. Ah, yeah. Okay, you asked for the link. Yes, 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 yes. Okay, so welcome to the live stream. So quickly before we go ahead to start, I want to give us a breakdown about who is coming to teach us today. Now, the person that is coming to teach us today is someone who has taught me before, or who I would say was the first person I encountered when I came to teach online. I didn't know anything about online teaching. Trust me, I was really new to it. I was actually planning to teach in places like Native Camp, Cambly, Preply. These are the places. If you're just joining, please tell me where you're watching from, okay? So these are the places I was actually looking forward to working until someone sent me a link, and then it was a company link, and she was the first person that did my interview. In fact, the day she did my interview, immediately she told me that Miss Blessing, you're good to go. You're going to start taking a class the next day. And I was so excited. Okay, I was excited about that, and I actually put myself together. I was like, hey, yeah, okay, so I got a job. And after 1 month of me not meeting up to standard, she told me, do you know what, Miss Blessing is like, we're going to drop you because she's the head director of learning in yeah, she's the director of learning in High Prep. I don't know how many of you know High Prep, but she's the director of learning in High Prep. And then she told me that time, and she was like, I think we're going to drop you. And I say, Ma, you cannot drop me. Oh. What God has started cannot end it. Oh. And then I put in the work. I put in the work seriously, and I ensured that I did not go back. Like I didn't go back on my tax. So the determination is one thing, but again, one thing that she helped me do was she guided me. There are a lot of things I didn't know about teaching online. There were a lot of things. Hello, Miss Amanda, welcome to the live stream. Okay, if you're just joining, those of you on the live stream, please also tell me where you're watching from. After now, I might not, if she comes in, I might not be able to tell you, oh, welcome to the live stream and all of that, because she is going to be talking, right? So but just join in. I want you very attentive. You want to get your pen and paper, anything that you think is going to help you in today's training, please go ahead and put yourself together because you're going to need it. Trust me, when I mean you're going to need it, you're going to need it. So today she's going to come and talk to us about things, strategies you need. Yeah, you're welcome, Miss Amanda. Strategies you need to become an online tutor. Yes, very important. The strategies you need to become an online tutor. Hi, Teacher Stella. And Teacher Stella, you're supposed to be in the Zoom chat. Please come to the Zoom chat. Use the link, come to the Zoom chat. If you don't have the Zoom chat link, send me a message on WhatsApp quickly. Miss Stella, send me a message on WhatsApp and join with the Zoom chat quickly. Okay, you're not supposed to be on the live stream. You're supposed to be here where you can ask questions. Okay, so like I said, um, if you are if you are new to the online teaching space, I think she's going to be giving us tips on how, whether you're new or you're not new, how to motivate your students. I think these are the two major places or the two major areas she said she was going to cover: how to motivate students and how to what's it called, plan lessons that you will keep your learners engaged. Miss Stella. Okay, so how you can plan lessons that will keep your learners engaged quickly. We're going to be looking at all of that, but please, I want to beg you today that you should do your best. Okay, do your best to ensure that whatever you're doing today, you are actually learning something that is going to help you a lot. Mr. Kolawole Ayo, please come to the Zoom chat. You're supposed to be in the Zoom chat where you can actually ask questions. Those of you on greens, I don't want to see you on the live stream. You should be in the group chat or in the Zoom chat, please. Good evening, Miss B. Thank you for all you do. Watching from where? From Lagos. Oh, okay, that's good. Thank you for watching all the way from Lagos. Yeah. So um, let's just get ourselves ready. Um, quickly, I want you to use the chat. Tell me one thing you hope to learn today. I've told you what she's going to prepare for us. So what do you think you're going to learn today? I want to hear from you guys while we're still waiting for others to join in quickly. What are you expecting to learn today? As fast as possible, yes. Please use the chat. You could use the live stream chat. You could use the chat on the Zoom, anyone. But tell me one thing that you are expecting to learn in today's class. What are you hoping to get? Like I said, the Oga my Oga is coming. So I'm just waiting a little bit so that I can actually send it. Mr. Caller, can you send me a message on WhatsApp? If you can send me a message on WhatsApp, I will be able to join. She's going to join exactly 8:10. She's going to start her session exactly 8:10. So I'm just trying to warm up the chair for her. I'm like John the Baptist. I'm preparing the road for my madam. So hey, those of you that are on the live stream, please tell me where you're watching from. I like the fact that people are plenty. See, I think you're seeing people don't want to join members. Well, you see the people now, people are plenty here. Eh? Okay, no problem, no problem. I'm doing it for love. I want everyone to see, and let me tell you, like I usually say, there's money in this space. People are making money, and I want everybody here to make money, right? And that's the reason why I go out of my way to bring in people that can teach us. I'm even going to bring in someone that is going to teach us how to prepare good slides, good flyers, and run ads. See, this August, people should just farabalẹ̀ for me small. I'm going to teach us how to create good, not this Canva, not this ChatGPT flyers that people are doing. No. I don't want to see that one, right? But I'm going to bring someone else that's going to teach us how to make good, the kind of flyers that you see. In fact, it's my design I'm going to bring in to teach you guys. Someone says, I want to learn the pros and cons of online teaching for a teacher starting to transition online. Very good. You're going to learn all of that, please. Charity says, I'm watching from Lagos. Okay. Said, I'm watching from Lagos. Who again? Good evening, ma'am, from Sango Ota. Oh, Ota people. Oh, that's good. That's good. That's good. All right. All right. Let me see. Someone is asking me for the link. Okay. 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 Forward it to Mr. Caller. All right. So Miss B watching from Lagos. Okay, very good. I'm glad you're watching. You're watching all the way from Lagos. Lagos people are plenty on this call today. That's good. That's good. I'm still waiting for more people to join the call so that we can ask questions. I today don't hold back any question you have, whether you're watching via live stream or you're watching via what's it called? Whether you're watching via live stream or you're watching via the Zoom call, please just write your questions at the side. She will be able to explain things to you. And the major thing I'm looking forward to are the strategies. Okay, the strategies. I'm Faith Covenant, chatting from Abu. Hi, Faith. Welcome to the live stream. It's good to have you here, all the way from Kaduna. That's good. Oh, I want to learn how to transit from JJC to Pro. Don't worry. Even me, I'm a JJC where this my madam is. So don't worry. Yeah. Okay. I heard that when learners are not well engaged, they don't refer and don't rebook. So I want to learn the strategies. Watching from Niger State. Okay, very good, very good. All right, all right, all right, all right. So that's it. That's it. Is anybody waiting in the waiting room? The waiting room is not open. The waiting room is open, please. Mm? All right, so I'm waiting for. Okay, Auntie English says I want to learn how to get students consistently. Mm. Okay, you're watching me from Ghana, Kumasi. Someone is watching me all the way from Ghana. That's nice. Ah, Miss West in Downtown Global. Okay, very soon I want to be seeing UK and US and Canada watching me live stream. All right. So in few minutes or in 5 minutes, she's going to join in. And please, the major thing, like I said today, someone says I'm from Somalia. I am really interested to be an English teacher online. Thank you for helping us adopt the online industry. You're welcome all the way from Somalia. Jesus Christ. I'm watching you from Togo. Wow, Juliet, all the way from Togo. Wow. Oh, that's nice. I am blessed in Obianju watching from Ibadan. Okay, I want to learn how to be strategize in the online teaching and get students. I think getting students is one of our major hassle, and that's the reason why I said this August I'm also going to put together a program where everybody can learn how to run ads. There's one thing about making good posts. that, everybody. Sorry, give me a moment. Sorry about that. I got disconnected for a moment. Sorry about that. I know that some people could not hear me and then they were wondering, where's Miss Blessing? I'm here. Okay, I'm here. Hold on, please just give me a moment. Let me quickly do a top up. Okay. So yeah, I could still see some people sending in their what they want to do. Okay, so I'm also going to let everybody get ready for that as well. Okay, so she's joining in 2 minutes. Please just give us 2 minutes. She will be in, and then she's going to start. I'm just going to give her the floor so that in the next few minutes she's going to start as fast as possible so that we can get ready or get ourselves prepared as well. I will try my best to see that we are all in one mind and one spirit today. So if you're just joining, if you're just watching, please tell me where you're watching from. I would like to know where you are watching me from as well. Please. Very important. I like knowing where people are watching me from. It's actually going to help our live stream today. It's going to help our live stream today. Let me see. Very good. Okay. So far, so good. All right. Miss B, you are an international teacher of tutors, so don't be surprised at the turnout. Me, I'm even surprised. The people I'm seeing here, people I'm seeing here, I did not expect it because I was wondering. When I saw the membership count, I was like, okay, these people are then. And then she now told me that, you know what, Miss Blessing, just allow everyone joining today. I said, okay. So I'm going to stream it when she comes in. So you guys can actually ask questions and then we'll move forward from there. But just in case you are finding it hard, if you are in the group, if you're in the WhatsApp group and you're finding it hard to join either the live stream or you are finding it hard to join the Zoom chat, please send a message immediately before she comes in. Because when she comes in, I will not answer. It's my network. My network is fluctuating. Sorry. That's why I went to buy all manner of network recently. Patrick Udoma said, good evening. I'm watching from Lagos, Nigeria. I'd like to learn the best strategies for consistently engaging students. Exactly. That's what you're going to be learning today. Who can't hear me? Please, if you cannot hear me, let me know. Good evening, ma'am. I'm Desola watching from Abia. Those of you on the Zoom call, please, if you can hear me, give me a thumbs up. Good evening, ma'am. I'm Desola watching from Abeokuta, Ogun State, watching from Sango Ota. Very good. Okay, that's good. That's good. Welcome to the live stream. Okay, so you people can hear me. So anybody that cannot hear me, go and check your internet connection, Miss Stella. Okay. If you cannot hear me, check your internet connection. All right. Those of you on the Zoom, you are not telling me what you want to learn today. And you people are the supposed VIPs. People should stay there now. I will not even answer any of you. What do people want to learn? You should tell me. The ones on the live stream are even more active. Like I will go to live stream and leave all of you in this Zoom call. Okay, so quickly, if you know anybody that is supposed to be here and the person has not joined, please tell them to join in as fast as possible or tell them to join in as quickly as possible because it's going to be a very engaging time that we can actually learn something today. So, yeah, she is joining now. The WhatsApp is just for mentees. I'm watching from Lagos. Okay. Is it? No, it's not just for my mentees. The WhatsApp group is open for everyone. So if you are new to my live stream and you don't know how to get to the WhatsApp group, there is a link in my bio. Click on the link, you'll be able to get to the channel, and from the channel, you can get to the link. Okay, so please go ahead and do that. Go ahead and do that. Um, Those of you that don't leave us, so I want to learn how to be more confident. You people are not telling me what you want to learn now. That's why I said I'm going to leave you people. Okay, don't leave us. I want to learn how to be more confident and professional as an online tutor. Thank you, Mr. Daniel. Don't worry, I'm going to learn all of that. So Miss Oma, no, the what's it called? The WhatsApp is for everybody. It's really open for everyone. So we are ready for Miss Stella now. She's going to join in 2 minutes. Please just get yourself ready. Yes, so just get yourself ready. She's going to be in shortly. And like I said, if you have questions, just put your questions down. You are going to need to ask. Please, I want everyone to ask. Okay? Okay, so I'm supposed to have more than this. All right. You are talking about running ads before you. Oh, I said I'm gonna bring in someone, Andrew Ndubisi. I said I'm gonna bring in someone that is going to teach us how to run ads and how to prepare good flyers that are catchy for that make parents want to click on your ads. Okay. Make parents want to click on your ads or
Log in
reach
now.
out to you. Okay.
You have
So
not logged
yeah.
in.
So
Have
sorry.
you logged in?
Miss, would you mute your microphone? Okay, so I had already done that. All right. Let me send her a message again and tell her we are in and we are ready for her. Okay, we are ready. Okay, so please, everyone, just get yourself prepared. Okay, if you're just joining, welcome to the live stream. My name is Miss Blessing. This is I Teach with Miss B, and I teach teachers how to teach online. And I want to see you all grow. Okay, I want to see you all turn out well tonight or learn something today. So if you're just joining, please click on the like, subscribe, share button, tell somebody to tell somebody about what is happening today. Okay, those of you that like doing things solo, go and tell you people in your community. When I mean your community, people in your this thing that we are live. Okay, good evening. This is Mr. Sampson. Can we have a roadmap in terms of training from classroom to land the first online job? I think I have a video on this. I have a video on this. So I'm going to just link you to the video at the end of this live stream. But when she comes in and she actually teaches us what she has in mind today, if you have questions about that, you can go ahead and ask questions. In fact, don't leave out anything you want to ask today. Is that okay? Don't leave out anything you want to ask today. Um, ensure that you are asking questions as much as you can. But please be, how will I put the word? Be organized enough to know when to ask and when not to. But definitely, we're going to have a question and answer session. Okay. So people should get ready for Miss Blessing. This August, I'm ready for all of you. Even though my schedule is tight, I have provision for all of you in mind. So if you're just joining, if you're just joining the live stream and you want to join the WhatsApp group, I'm going to drop the WhatsApp group at the end of the live stream. I'm going to drop it in the WhatsApp channel. And those of you also sending me DMs, I'm going to respond to you at the end of today. Oh, she's here. Hey, let me do my victory dance. Dun, 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 all right, all right, all right, all right. Get serious, blessing. Okay, so yes, my boss is here. I'm going, yes, she's my boss. There's nothing I can do about it. So she's here and she's how will I put it? She's ready for us. Yes, there's nothing that I know that I did not learn, or let me say 80 to 70 to 80% of what I learned today, or what I teach you guys on YouTube, and you guys are learning from me. I get them from her. So yeah. She's going to, hi Miss Stella. Are you here? Yes. Hey! See, I told you we even made the same hairstyle. Oh Jesus.
Hello, hello.
We
Hello,
are
Miss B.
singing. There's nothing anybody will tell me is blessing. Hi, Miss Stella. Good evening. Welcome to the live stream, right?
Thank
It's
you.
good to have you here. Yeah, so we are all prepped or ready for you. We're waiting for you. Yes, so I have over 30 people watching me from the live stream, and here we have over 20 people. Yeah. So altogether almost 50, and more people are still joining in today. So yes, so you have the whole world waiting for. Do you know the funniest part, Miss Stella? Let me just give you this. So these people you are seeing here, I told them that my boss, right? My boss is going to come and teach us today. And I said that they should just get themselves ready. That anything that they want to know that they think I know, they should just take it from the horse's mouth. And initially I wanted to make it closed for these people, but I thought of it again and then decided to make it open for everyone. Yeah. So we're all going to be learning a lot from you today. And I'm trusting that from all the things you said you're going to share with us, we are going to learn and receive a lot. So you bear with us. We have you only today, right? So I have people that are going to be asking questions both from here and also from the live stream as well. So well, I'm going to that's going to be at the end where we have our question and answer session, right? And then you also let us know what you have for us as well for later. You know what I mean, right? So yeah. So that's it. All right. So yeah, so please let's use our emojis, round of applause, love button, heart button, anything to welcome Miss Stella to take over. I'm gonna step away now. Welcome to the live stream. Okay, so Miss Stella, over to you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Ms. Blessing, for that amazing introduction. And hello, everyone. Good evening. Um, I am Tella. I'd love to be called Tella by my first name. I think it's just about okay. And again, I also love to introduce myself as a teacher. So I'd want you to see, myself as, your colleagues, your colleague, a teacher as well. Today we're going to have an important conversation, and the first thing I could see from the chat, I could see the first thing that says, what are the online companies really looking out for to see in a classroom from start to bottom? And I like that. I like it because it's already, giving me the mindset that we're all here for business. So I love it. And interestingly, part of the conversations that we're going to be having today would, thank you. Part of the conversations we're going to be having today would be, would expose us to what online companies are looking for, but most especially what it means to be an online teacher. What are parents looking out for? What are students looking out for? What are recruiters looking out for you to have a good online experience as a tutor? Just going to quickly share my screen and now we get started in a moment. Great. So the big topic for today's conversation is top strategies every online educator should know. And I'm I'm hoping that everyone here is either a teacher or an aspiring teacher. So whether you're already teaching in classroom or in online setting, or you're planning to start teaching, I believe that the conversations that we're going to have here would be helpful either to improve your practice already or to, begin your practice to becoming an online tutor. And also the conversations we'll be having would be backed around the science of motivation, active learning, and high impact learning. So it's more like 3 in 1. And I hope that we can achieve all of these. Actually, we will, don't worry. So the pillars of this motivation, the 2 important pillars that I want to sum the whole conversation to have is actually the parents' motivation and the learner's motivation. So if you're teaching online, the people that you want to always think about to motivate, the motivation that you'd want to really think of so much would be the parents' motivation and the learner's motivation. I want you to take a minute to think of whenever you hear the word motivation, what comes to your mind? Do you immediately think of what am I going to give to my learners to make them to like me, to want to be in my class? What would I be saying to my parents to make them to, continue to want me as their children's tutor? What are those things that comes to your mind immediately you think about motivation? And I bet you, from what I've seen from the recruiter's perspective, and also from, also getting immediate feedback from parents, there's a big misconception around motivation. And that's why I think that this matters a lot. Most time, motivation, as big as it is reduced to performance. And I'm hoping that by the time we end this conversation, nobody's going to be thinking of motivation as performance. So you hear or you see tutors try to bring in a little bit too much performance, dancing. I'm not saying that those things are bad, but these are, most times where we box motivation. We reduce it to, how you decorate a slide, the tools that you're bringing into class, and how much you smile. But motivation is such a big thing. And let's see what motivates parents. Parents are driven by results. They renew their subscription, which is they renew the contract with you when they see genuine progress, when they see real involvement, when they see clear improvement in their child's learning. No matter how much a parent wants to like you, I want to use the word like here, as much as it's not one of my favorite phrases, but then as much as, parents would want to like you, if they're not seeing these things, because this is what they see, this is what they want, this is, what heals the pain that made them to want to, seek your services. If they're not seeing these, they are obviously thinking of discontinuation, they're thinking of alternative route. And the minute they begin to think of these, you probably, I mean, if you're lucky, they probably would, indicate or share some of their plans with you. But most times they go straight to looking for a new tutor or, speaking with recruiting companies to say, I don't want this tutor, I want a different tutor, because you've not been able to, feed their motivation. You've not given them what they want, which is actually progress. And for the learners, you'd agree with me that most of the learners we have in the world learn because, their parents want them to learn. Most people, most children, think about yourself when you were a child. Most people want to learn. Most people are actually learning. They go to school because their parents want them to go to school. There was an article from a reading comprehension that I read sometime last week, and it was around should it's a persuasive write-up on students should be paid for going to school. Now, this sums what students, think of whenever they think of going to school or learning. They see it as extra stress. So if they think of this as stress and they are coming to you with this mindset, what is that thing that you'd have that would make them to want to learn, to make them to happily come around to learn? Because, I mean, if they are not on the right frame of mind, they are not going to get that progress, which would make parents to continue to stay. So students are driven by experience. They stay engaged through diversity. The kind of feedback you give them, is it relevant? And also a teacher who truly understands where they are. One of my usual or most, I would even call it overused examples that I always make whenever I want to compare the career of the teaching career would be, what it looks like in the medical line. I like to always place them side by side. Think about yourself. You don't want to go to the hospital as an individual. Nobody wants to go to the hospital. No matter how beautiful a hospital wants to be, nobody wants to go to the hospital. We only go to the hospital because we want to get better. Excuse me. And if you go to a doctor, what would be that thing that would make you to want to always insist to be treated by this doctor? Is actually the kind of experience that you get, right? The kind of support that you get. This is what it feels like with students. If they're going to keep coming to your class, what is that thing they get through the experience? Interestingly, the parents part is the easiest part, because since you already know the outcome, you know what they want is progress, is the easiest. The one that's a little bit, challenging and also interesting as well, because they are the main stakeholder, is actually the learner motivation. And we're going to look at the learner motivation in the almost around all many branches, the learning branch, the motivation branch, the connection, and different branches. But let's start with the parent one. So there are 6 ideas that I want you to think of that would actually make you to change how you think about motivation. And those ideas, the first one is actually that great teaching doesn't guarantee retention. As a matter of fact, teaching is almost about halfway through, what it means to be a teacher, whether online or offline. The quality of your teaching is just about halfway. You can have the most quality teaching and learning is still not happening, right? So, I mean, as much as it's important, it's still about halfway through. For you to achieve retention, you need to think about the parent, you need to think about the learners. The second one is parents and learners are motivated differently. So each time you want to think of a lesson, you want to plan a lesson, you're thinking of what is that thing I'm going to do to keep my parents motivated so they can continue to be a collaborator. They're going to continue to be partners to help me to achieve my goal of making this learner learn. And then for the learner's part, you're also thinking of differently. What am I going to, what are the things I'm going to do differently to keep this learner engaged, motivated to stay in class all through? And then you have motivation is designed and it's not discovered. I can come in here and spend the whole day and tell you that these are the things that you could do to keep your learners motivated. And you might go to my class and you probably wouldn't achieve motivation, right? Because motivation is designed. You have to personalize it. Think about your learner. What is that thing that works for this learner? What's that thing that I'm going to, how can I personalize this learning experience to keep this learner, motivated? As much as you'd have many learners that share similarities, there's always one unique difference. And that unique difference is something that they want to see that you're able to discover that would make them stay. Think about when you were growing up, when you were still in primary school, in secondary school. You have great teachers, but is this one teacher or two teachers that you'd always want them to be in class? What is that thing they are doing to make you want to be in the class? So think about it. What is that thing that you have to be doing to make learners to want to be in your class? And then you have my favorite part, which is active learning. Active learning fuels motivation. Each time you come into classroom or you're designing learning, always think about active learning. And that was why I like the first comments I saw here that went straight to the point. What does company what do companies, online companies, what are they looking out for? It has to be active. No time for us to, go around the bush and waste our time. So active learning, learners stay engaged when they think, when they do, when they discuss, and when they apply. They actually are not, even when they bring in some stories and stuff, that's not one of the main things that bring them to class. They want to, get done with the learning and continue their business. And the fifth one is small teaching habits create big motivation. There are some things that you do, you think that those things don't matter. It matters. Very small things, little things, something as little as acknowledging your learners, as little as coming into class early, as little as writing post-lesson updates, as little as they matter a lot. And they keep both parents and the learners motivated. And lastly, motivation is measured by what learners do. Participation, progress, and persistence are stronger indicators than enthusiasm alone. Enthusiasm is good. Think about those classes that you've started and then the learner joined the class with lots of enthusiasm. Oh, I want to learn, what are we learning today? And they are ready, they got their OneNote or their writing pads ready, to begin to learn. And along the line, nothing is happening. They're just blank. So they came in with enthusiasm, but because there was no enough participation or the right participation or the right support, they're not able to sustain the enthusiasm. So this point here, I want you to begin to reflect on this point and let it, inform how you think about motivation. As against the usual thing, I know the usual thing that comes to mind when we think about motivation because I've been there. I've been, there when I'm giving a feedback, keep your learners motivated. And what I'm thinking is, okay, what music am I going to play in class right now? What game are we going to do? I'm not saying those things are bad. But when you think about motivation the big way, You think about the things that you have to do. You think about the way you want your learners to wear motivation, the internal motivation you want them to get it. Then you begin to, get it right. Now, again, let's not focus on the parent part. I said that the parent part is the easiest. It's very easy to achieve because what they want is not, it's not this way, it's not zigzag, it's just a straight way. What they want to see better scores. They want to see outcome. They want to see progress. This is what parents want to see. You can actually give a parent feedback and say, your child is doing amazing. We did a test and she scored 20 out of 20. And then the parent has gone to the parents' evening in school, and the school says, your child is underperforming. That's what the parent sees. They're saying that, oh, okay, my child is underperforming. You're not telling me that my child is performing. It's either your assessment is on the challenge in my child, or you're not giving me real feedback. So they want to compare your feedback with another, with a third person's point of view. So they want to see it from their school. And so when school give them feedback, they also want to compare it to what you're giving them. So they want to, see feedback that aligns. So result, sometimes just a few parents might, step overboard to want to actually test their children themselves. I've seen parents do that. There are parents that would actually design question and then, try to get their kids to respond to this question to see that they are learning. But this is just a fraction of them. Most of the parents out there, what they use to measure feedback is what they hear from their schools. And yes, this is also what companies are looking out for. A company is not going to recruit you to just saying, oh, this child is making effort. No, they want to see that also the effort that you're reporting aligns with the reports that, they're getting from home. They want to see these reports aligning. Parents also want to see improved confidence. They want to see their children use the right vocabulary. They want to see their children speak science, speak mathematics, speak that subject that you're teaching. They want to see their children better explain concept. If a child should say that this sum plus this sum would give you this, they should be able to explain the process, not just give out numbers randomly. They should be able to see independent thinking. For a child to say, okay, I can do this homework, I could use this strategy to do this homework and arrive at my answer. My tutor has taught me to use this strategy and that one, and this is my favorite, and I would always use this one to, respond to task. These are the things that parents see. And lastly, parents want to see better homework, independence, quality rising over time. So when you give your children homework, you give their children homework, their children are able to complete this homework without bothering them. And all they want to hear from you is that your child completed homework. So these are the things they want to see. And this thing might seem either big or small. I don't know how you want to think of it, but I tell you, for you to achieve these things that parents want to see, you have to really be on point with the bigger scale, on the biggest stakeholder, which is actually the learners. You have to be intentional about, going through them to achieve what parents are looking for. And ultimately, what would make a recruiting company, an online company, to want to keep you as a teacher or want to continue to engage you with some student or with some students. What are the things that also drive parents to renew? The things that would make them to trust those steps that you're working towards getting them to see the things that they want to see. Importantly is communication. I was having a conversation with someone before this call, and then we're talking about learning, about exam classes, and then she mentioned how much time they spend learning, and she feels that the time they spend is insufficient. And I said, have you communicated this? It's not just enough to say, oh, this time, the duration we spend learning is not enough. Have you communicated this? Because you have your perspective of the learners. The parents also have their perspective. But then you have to let them know 1 hour a week is not enough, or 2 hours is not enough. So if you're a professional, you should be able to, identify these things and communicate them. So parents want to see you communicate everything. At the start of engagement, You have your welcome and goal setting communication. This could happen either through writing or through it could happen through writing, you sending out email writing, or even through live conversation on Zoom. This could happen. You welcome them, you introduce your methodology, and then you ask the parents, what is your goal for your learner or for your child? And when the parents, share their goals, you also let them know the steps that you're going to take to helping them achieving the goal that they're setting for their learners. These are things that parents want to see. You also have the post-lesson updates at the end of every lesson. You're sending out updates. Either you're sending it at the end of every lesson or you're sending at the end of every week. So you'd have this agreement. There are some companies, great companies, like the company that I work, you send out daily updates, and then you have other places that would say send out weekly updates. You have to, know what works. But the most importantly, you have these post lessons updates. It helps to bridge the gap, to reduce the wandering space in the mind of your parents. Sometimes they don't even respond frequently, but they see those feedback and they act on them. You also have your progress update. So the progress update is a little bit more detailed than the post lesson update. The progress update is where you now have between the period of 4 weeks of learning. These are the things, or these are the achievements, and these are the strengths that we've identified or that we've achieved, and these are some gaps that we've also achieved. You also have your monthly or quarterly report. So at the end of 3 months or 4 months, depends. These are the report that you're giving. So here you're also given even more detailed report. So you're mentioning, so between the space of these 4 months, which is a quarter, these are the things that we've achieved, and these are where your child is working, and these are the next steps that I'm going to follow to supporting the child. So it's not just enough to say, oh, okay, we've supported here, and then your child has continued to struggle with 2 steps problem, and then it stops there. No, you have to, also report the next steps that you're going to follow. And then you have check-in and intervention. So there are learners that, come to you or are assigned to you with obvious learning gaps. Those learners probably need an intervention plan, right? So when they come to you, you don't just design a path and you continue to go with the path without having a time when you pause, you check, you see if you'd need to change the direction of the path, design a new path because you've met the ones that you've met, the ones that you've designed, the goals that you've designed, or you need to readjust the steps. So you need to have these, and you need to communicate them. There are some parents that would meet you and say, so my child is in year 5, and this is the learning content that you'd have to use to teach my child. Or along the line, you notice that this child is not working at year 5 needs. This child is actually working below year 5. It is your responsibility as professional to be able to communicate this gap and then design an intervention. Because the parents might not know. Parents could actually know that my child is underperforming, right? But it is your responsibility to be able to identify. So this is the cause of the underperformance, and these are the things that we're going to do. If you communicate these things, I don't see a parent that is going to be worried, even if they don't get to see the 100% at the end of the year. At least they are able to see 1 step, 2 steps, 3 steps daily. And I tell you, these things matter. And then there's also the part on the genuine involvement. How do you really involve? How do you really stay involved in my child's learning? You do this through personalized support, responsive communication. This responsive communication is a big deal. It's a big deal because there's always just this tiny bit of disagreement when you have a teacher say, oh, this child cannot do this. And then a parent says, this is not my child's pain. My child can do this, but my child cannot do this. And then you're wondering, but I'm the professional here, I see this. Please do not put yourself, do not be that person. As a parent and as a tutor, I've actually felt both. I've been a teacher where I felt that this child, I thought that this is where this child is, and the parent is telling me something else. And I'm also being a parent where I'm telling the teacher that my son can do this, and then the school tells me your son cannot do this. So you need to have the emotional intelligence to know that we all have different perspectives and we see the pains. So, but then we need to find a middle ground, accept, acknowledge those complaints, those concerns, those feedback, acknowledge them and act on them. Acknowledge them and act on. If a parent says to you that my child is going to be writing this exam, and these are the resources that I want you to use to support my child, because this is the resources they're using in school. Use those resources. If you think that these resources are not sufficient, then I'm going to use these and also add this, communicate that, add them. But please do not be at a place where you think, oh, I see these things better than you. No, nobody sees better than each other. We all see things, but we communicate the things that we see and we acknowledge what each other person share, right? And you have individual learning plans. You might have many students, but please never have more students than you can handle. I've seen great tutors started up nicely. During recruitment, I loved the presentation. I loved, all the quality that I'm seeing. But along the line, I see where quality begins to drop. I usually would have a flow of conversation. What's happening? This is not you. This is not how you started working. And I know how it usually ends. We begin to take away classes from you because you're not able to meet up with your own part of the agreement. So as against wanting to take too many things at the same time, please take the learnings that you can handle. Even better, have a niche. Don't be that still that, oh, I can take early years, I can take stage 1, I can take stage 2, I can take math, I can take these. I really do not see a reason why you want to do all of those. All you want to do is to cover your hours, the hours that you want to teach. If you want to cover the hours, stay within the niche. Say, I'm going to be a key stage 1 and early years teacher. It's easier for you to plan it. So you're planning, lessons for earlier students, and then you're just doing a little bit of adjustment to meet their individual needs. As against planning for earlier, planning for key stage 4. I mean, they're too far apart. So, so this is actually to help you plan your lessons or organize yourself. And there's this flexibility part. Online learning comes with a lot of flexibility. I know this is where most people do not like it. It's not comfortable, but it comes with flexibility. For you, and also for parents, it comes with flexibility. And there's also consistent flow. All these things show that you genuinely care about learning. And lastly, we have the real improvement in learning. Improved test score, consistent progress, positive learning habits, independent thinking in bold. These things show that you actually care about the child's learning. And these things, when parents see that you're communicating, you're well involved, and they're seeing real progress, parents want you to stay. Companies are happy to have you to stay. In fact, companies are happy to continue to assign you more classes, because you're able to meet the main learning goals. And also, if you are intended to work with a company, you're applying, then you're coming with this mindset. You're coming with the mindset, I'm coming here to be a better communicator, to show that I really care about the learner's learning. These are the things that we want to hear. These are the things companies want to hear, that you can convince us that if you're joining, parents would parents would want to continue to work with you. It's really disappointing if you assign a class and after a few times parents say, no, I don't want this teacher to continue to take my class. It's disappointing. So we want to see that you are the teacher, that when we assign you classes, we're sure that you're going to retain the students assigned to you, and for the duration of the expected learning cycle. And then you have this key takeaway for the parents part, that parents are not buying lessons. Parents are buying progress. I've had a parent say to me one time that, so this teacher, there's a teacher taking my child. One of the reasons why we left there, because the teacher would always put on YouTube video. There are nice videos, but if I wanted my child to watch YouTube videos, I could actually, subscribe for YouTube, for paid YouTube channels, and my child can go watch YouTube. My child is in Key Stage 4. They can make out sense out of the videos. But this is not what I want. I actually want that teacher's connection. I actually want that teacher breaking down the skill. I actually want that teacher's accountability. So that says it. Parents are not paying for lessons. They are paying for progress. They want to hold you accountable. They want to say, hello, Miss Adedayo, why is my child not making an A yet? Hello, Miss Carol, why is my child still having C? They want to have somebody to hold accountable. We all want to have somebody to hold accountable. So if you want to do this job, then be that person that is going to be accountable. And now we're going to the big fish, the learners. These are the reason why the learning would even exist. And these are my favorite people because, they come with the joy. This is actually the joy of being a teacher, the joy of seeing a child move from this point to another point, a child of seeing form changes. So this is the part where I love so much. I love to, interact with the learners and support them to achieve real progress. And that's why I always would rather call myself a teacher, because I want to continue to interact with them. But what is that thing that makes learners or keep them to continue to come to you? A lot of people will say passion. I have passion for teaching. I have passion for learning. Passion is not enough. It's not enough to have passion. I've seen people with passion and along the line, they just had to, look for something else. I mean, if passion was enough, probably every preacher should become a teacher, because I see the passion that preachers would use to, preach either in the church or in the mosque. It's this strong passion you use. But if passion was just enough, you probably would. I mean, I can't even find the best example. But passion is important. It's very important because it brings in that genuinity, but then it's not enough. There are other things that you need. There are strategies, and you learn these strategies through research, through trainings, through, unlearning and relearning to get to be able to support your learners to want to come to you. And let's see some of the things that I have here. What actually drives engagement? Diversity of activities. Don't make your class to be so predictable. So I'm coming here to jot notes or just sit down and I'm working on the OneNote and the teacher is just there nodding. Don't make your class too predictable. Relevant feedback. Give learners feedback that they can instantly relate to, feedback that makes sense, and make sure that the feedback connects with the learning, not feedback that is far-fetched. And then you also have empathy. Empathy for their current level. Empathy is something that I think teachers have many things. And for empathy, I think they have more sympathy than empathy. Honestly, I think most teachers have more sympathy than empathy. It actually took me a while to understand the difference between sympathy and empathy in teaching. And this is why you would see a child struggling and you're making a big deal of that struggle, of that child struggling, than actually understanding why this child is struggling. Because the moment we're focusing on empathy, beginning to understand why the child is struggling and the thing that we're going to do to support the child to improve. There's a learning science theory that backs these three, or it's actually that motivation is highest when learners experience competence, autonomy, and relatedness. If learners can experience these three things, then their motivation is high. And if their motivation is high, then they're going to help you to achieve the result, which would motivate the parents and also your employers. Let's look at what it means to diversify learners, to diversify learning engagement. I have a couple of points here. The visual learning. Whenever I come to this visual learning, there's something I want to first debunk, because I know that these myths have continued to exist. I don't know why it's existing, but it has continued to exist for so long. It's actually that idea that there are some students that are better, that learn better if they are seeing. There are some people that learn better when they are listening, and those that learn better when they are doing. And with this understanding, you see teachers say, so for this child's learning, I'm going to make sure that your lesson is filled up with lots of visuals. I'm giving you videos, I'm giving you pictures, and then you're watching, and then there's this child that, oh, okay, we're going to put all sorts of listening things. Please, if you are here, by the time you're leaving here, please do not be part of the people that believe that myth is a myth. For every child, you have to make sure that when you're designing their lesson, you want to look at the instruction. What is the instruction you're designing? What's the lesson instruction? Would you be needing visual to design this lesson to achieve your goal? Would you be needing auditory? Would you be needing some experiment? Because children need all of these styles. They are not programmed to a particular style. They need all of them to learn. So what matters is the instruction, and then you differentiate style by the instruction and not individual. I mean, it's a very ridiculous one, honestly. And then you have discussion when you're diversifying your learning. There are some lessons that you're, creating sufficient room for discussion. Your science lesson, your English lesson, even your math lesson, there are some parts where you discuss method, where there's this type of question. You see that a lot in white truth math, where you have this person says that this, and that person says this. Let's explain who is right, and what do you think this person got wrong in the process. And they discuss these, and they also solve it. They demonstrate it to show their responses. So effective discussion would happen in your class to keep your learners engaged. You have games and challenges. Bringing games in your class. There are beautiful gamification tools out there that you can use. Use them for their purpose. There are some of them that you use for retention. There are some of them that you use for recap. Use them, bring them to spice up your classes. And then you have retrieval task. All your tasks should not be focused on problem solving. Problem solving is amazing, but then it shouldn't be focused, all of them shouldn't be focused on problem solving. They should be actually opportunity for retrieval. It's very important. And then you have movement and the whiteboards, where you can use your whiteboard to annotate and get your students to annotate, and also get your students to move around in classes, especially if you're taking younger students. Get them to move around in classes, move their body. It can get pretty tiring sitting for 1 hour, even as an adult. And then you have polls and prediction. If you're teaching through Zoom, you even have polls that you can use. You're reading story, you're telling your learners to predict what will happen. You have collaborative tasks. You're using Google Docs. You can sometimes create a Google Docs and say, so you collaborate, let's write this, or we're collaborating together. If it's an exclusive class type just between you and the learner, let's collaborate to, produce this story. So you can have a collaborative task. Depends on the learning. And then you have mysteries and case studies. Case studies usually is my favorite. I create really creative case study. And you know what? With the use of AI now, you can actually create mind-blowing case studies. So utilize AI to create these things. You don't even need to think extra to create nice mysteries and case studies to spice up your classes. To bring in different level of engagement. These are just few. Remember what I said earlier. You need to make a lot of. You need to actually attend a couple of trainings, support trainings to improve your professional development. So there are many things that you can do to make your learners engaged, to make them to want to be in class, to make them to want to achieve that thing that motivates the parents and also motivates recruiters to want to join you. So even during your recruitment process, the time when you have to demo a class, recruiters want to see these. Not all the times, you come in and then you bring in slide, you lecture us. No, sometimes bring in this and spice them up. Show the recruiters that you've got this key, that this thing exists, but then use them for their original purpose. I think this is something that's not said enough. All these gamifications, they have their use. There are ones that you can use for, low level assessment, your LOTs assessment. There are some that you use for just retrieval. You don't use them for everything. You can't say that, okay, so I'm using Kahoot for my main task, for independent task in my class. No, 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 no. So you need to know this gamification. What gamification am I using? What am I using it for? And use them rightly. If not, you're just going to be, it's just going to be full of vibes and inshallah in class. So you'd have to use the gamification for what they are designed for. And you have feedback that builds motivation. Let the so proud of you, Uju. You were amazing today. Let's be amazing tomorrow. Uju does not know why she's amazing. Oh, Stella, I love the way you did this. Did you notice that today you had fewer spelling mistakes? It was amazing. Well, unlike yesterday, today I can see that most of your calculations you did most of your calculations correctly. And I can see you using the inversinator to check your calculation. Well done, Ola. You did amazing. These are things, a good way to give feedback. Let the students know why they are giving feedback. I had a teacher said to a student, this was a beautiful work. And then the student said, what do you like about it? I was observing a class, and then the student said, what do you like about it? So, and I liked it. It was the kind of conversation that I wanted. So you can't just tell me, oh, I like your writing. What do you like about my writing? So these are the feedback. Call the things by name so that next time when they are doing, they'll be intentional about doing that. Why was it successful? Give them the reason why it's successful. What should I improve? If you're telling them what they're improving, also let them know how they can improve it. Say it as about enough that these students would begin to know that this is their target. Say, for example, a child struggling with spelling. You'd be surprised I'm that kind of teacher that will tell students to go use Google or, spell checker to check their spelling. Yeah, I'm that kind of teacher. But then beyond telling the student to go check your spelling, I also tell them that before you check your spelling, make an attempt. And when you're checking it, find out the thing that you did wrongly. Because I'm not always going to be there when you're writing. So you'd also want to teach your student to have autonomy of their learning. So if you're using these tools, because these tools are there, they're beautiful tools for you to use. So if you're using these to spell your spelling, to confirm your spelling accuracy, know how did you spell it? Now that I've checked it, what should I have done better? By the time they do this 1 time, 2 times, 3 times, they remember. They begin to create their own strategies to spelling certain words, especially those words that are highly, have a couple of spelling errors. Also in calculations. So what's the thing you did wrong? Yeah, let's go through the steps again. Did you notice that usually whenever you come here, you don't use the right operation? Do you want to always check up the operation, write your board mat, remember to follow the steps, tick up on the steps that you've done? Do you need to do this step on it? Tick it up. So you see, as you're giving them the next step, you're also pointing. And during recruitment, we're also looking out for this. How would it also improve a concrete next steps? These are, the steps that you're following when you're giving feedback. You should also give feedback. You should also give feed forward, not always feedback. So feed forward means you'd know that this child has this challenge, right? And then you're saying before the students start the task, okay, remember to always look at the hint or look at the examples. Remember to always check your spelling. Remember that whenever you come to this point, you check your work. I mean, it's not beautiful to see a lot of zeros. I mean, a student should even never get a lot of zeros in your class. You check their work and be able to identify when, the place that they consistently miss it, and then point them to track. If you started a class and you've given 5 tasks and the student got 0 out of 5, I'm trying to. Okay, let's just be civil. Honestly, I'm not going to call that lesson a successful lesson. Do you know why? Because By the time a child finishes the first task, the second task, it is not a test, it is learning. You should be able to see this. This is why we would usually encourage to use digital notes so that when they're doing their task, you're also scrolling, you're seeing it, you're identifying the gaps, you can give instant feedback and then get them to try again. Because it can be very demoralizing to have lots of zeros. And then empathy. Sympathy is good, but it's not enough. It's just you feeling, oh, I feel sorry. Oh, this child is trying to write. She cannot write. No, it's not enough. Empathy is actually enough. I'll give you a real example. I was observing class. It was a revision math class, a year 10 class. And then, the teacher told the student to respond to a particular question. And then the student continued to give wrong answer. And the teacher continued to repeat the question because this teacher feels that this child knows this and should be able to respond to the question. But the child genuinely does not know the answer. And I could see why the teacher would think like that because, I've been teaching you and this is a revision class and you've done these things in class. I know that you know it. But the child never, did not get the answer. I had to write to the teacher. I said, rephrase the question. Rephrase it this way. And then the teacher rephrased the question and the student got it right. And when the teacher got it right, the teacher said, good, I wanted to continue. I told the teacher, I said, tell the student that I'm proud of you. And the teacher said, I'm proud of you. I said, no, call the child's name, say, I'm proud of you, Uju. I'm proud of you, Carol. Like, call the child's name. And the teacher said, I'm proud of you, Uju. And do you know what this child said? The child was in year 10, an older student, a teenager, and the child said, thank you so much. And the next thing that the student said to the teacher was, excuse me, sir, can I go get a notebook? I want to be able to write the steps. It was, I don't know how to describe the moment, but it was an important moment for me. That wasn't even, the reaction that I was expecting. But it was a very big reaction that I really appreciate. This is what happens when you empathize. Let me tell you what happens in online learning. You're teaching a child that probably got back from school and is exhausted. You're teaching a child that probably, had seen a movie and wanted to watch that movie. You're seeing a child that is battling, some distraction, teenage distraction. It happens. Let's not play ignorance of this. It happens. These children have distractions. No matter how you want them to take responsibility, they are kids. These distractions are there. They also want to do other things. There are a lot of kids things that they could be doing, but they've left all these things that they are compelled to be in your class. And a part of their brain is also pushing them to those things. It could sometimes make them to not be in that class. Empathize with them. Empathize with the period. This era is not like when it was. I don't know what your age is if you're here, but I tell you, the era now is not like when I was growing up. When I was growing up, we didn't have social media. I don't have to think of it. I think I was already probably leaving university when we learned about Facebook. When I was existing prior to then, I don't know, but I was already leaving university. So I didn't have it to distract me. They have TikTok. They have all these things. Yes, these are distractions. Sorry, they are kids. They can't help it. So if these things are there, you have to empathize with them. They also have, the teenage crisis or the childhood crisis. When I say crisis, what I mean is those little distractions, but it could even be anything. So empathize with them and know that all these things could actually be an obstruction to their learning. By the time you empathize with them, I don't mean empathizing by asking them, so what is the problem today? Did you not eat? Did you watch TikToks? No, you don't have to know what the problem is. What you need to know is that there are possible things that could affect learning. And because you know that these things are there, your class should be a safe place. So focus on identifying and understanding the knowledge, understand the misconception, understand the emotional barriers, and then respond. If this is the misconception, these are the things that we can do to solve it. And you're doing this with genuine care and not judgmental. And also not, poking nose to their private lives or to their personal lives. It can be uncomfortable. That's what it means to be, to show empathy. And then importantly, empathy does not mean that you're lowering your expectation. Continue to have high expectation. The moment you lower the expectation, you begin to lose them. Have the high expectation, set their minds there. This is where we are headed to. This is the quality of tasks that you're going to be doing. So if you're going to be doing this task, and I have some things, I mean, I am the guide, right? I'm the facilitator. I have some things that I can help, I can use to help those distractions, those misconceptions, those gaps, and then to help us achieve these expectations. Because this expectation, this is the targets. We're not about to leave it. We have to achieve these targets. So the things that I'm going to do is that as a tutor, you are going to adjust your scaffolding to help them to achieve these. And when I say adjust them, please do not over scaffold. Know when to stop and know when to let them, attempt. Other part is also challenge without overwhelming. Have your zone of proximal development just beyond current ability. If a child is working, I'm going to use something that everybody can relate. If a child is counting from 0 to 10, challenge the child. Let's get to 15, right? Your target is 15. It's okay if the child is at 10. In terms of progress writing, we would call the 10 working at expected level or at secure level. But for you to exceed the level, which is where you're setting the child, you're getting to 15. So let them exceed slightly. It's okay if they get even farther, but always set, go a little bit. Also have desirable difficulties. Effortful, practical practice that strengthens retention. Have all those little activities, those retrievals that you can do, those retrieval questions, those problem-solving questions, those challenges that you can set to get them to strengthen retention. Scaffold, temporarily support, and then gradually remove. Recall what I said, do not over scaffold. What happens when you over scaffold is that during assessment, you'd see your your students underperforming. Think about all this time in class when your student is always achieving 100%, 80%, and 90%, and then during test, you're surprised to see, oh, this child has got to 40%, and you're wondering, no, but in class, this child is doing 80%. In class, are you over scaffolded? Did you ever get to remove, step out, get to try on your own? And then you have one of my favorite parts. I think I have a lot of favorite principles and learning is a gradual release where you have the I do, the we do, the you do. This is an entire training on its own because there is the how that you achieve the I do. There is also the how you achieve the we do. And there is the how you achieve the you do. But in summary, what I do means is when the teacher model a skill, when you give your example. This is usually where it takes the minimum part. You show the example, you think aloud when you're showing the example, and then the way to think of it like your guided practice. You're using prompting, you're scaffolding, and you're getting your learners to think through quality questions. You need to get the quality questions to get them to think, and then you refine their thinking. During this phase, you can actually refine their thinking. If it was a writing lesson, English, you're doing your guided writing or shared writing, depends on the number of class. They're sending their work, their answers, or their sentences. You refine it, okay, I've seen this, but then we need to bring in more adjective to strengthen the sentence, or we need to use more figurative words to strengthen the sentence. You're part of the we do, and then you have the you do, where independently the learners do the work and then you observe. But then you'd also you have to also be creative on how you design the you do, because the you do, since it's the independent task, recall what I said, that a learner cannot have 0 in class. If a learner has 0 in class, there's a problem either from the teaching or from how the assessment question was set. There's this meme that always, it cracks me so much whenever I see it on the internet, where I think there's a question on which of these is orange, and then you have options on real orange, and then you have options on the color where it's written orange, and then the learner is wondering, what am I going to take, because you've told them to take one. So here, when you're setting the question, you need to be, intentional about how you plan your questions. My favorite one, or my go-to place when I want to design question would be to use the Bloom's taxonomy. It just does the work for you. All you need to do is, what question am I doing to test the lower order thinking? What question am I doing to do the HOT, the higher order thinking? You can use the Bloom's taxonomy to achieve this. Like I said, it's an entire training on its own. So we go to active learning. I was just about to say another favorite. I think almost everything about learning is, I love everything about learning. Well, active learning is, the focus, or the key that I want us, when we think about active learning, is actually the fragility of online learning. If you've heard me talk about online learning, you definitely must have heard me talk about the fragility. Online learning is so fragile. In a physical classroom, it's you and your learner. It's also fragile, but not like online learning. You can always call their attention. They could get lost in thoughts, and then you can easily see that from how they respond, and then you support. But online learning, sometimes you don't see these until it's too late, and this is why you have to have an eye of an eagle. You have to think like an owl, be very smart in the classroom, don't let any distraction happen. The keynote is that passive listening is not learning. Active thinking is. And I'm hoping that all the conversations we're having here, the active thinking are happening. We're not just passively listening. So always, note down the things we are writing. Also compare them, make researches and compare the things that you've learned. That's actually active learning, as against just listening. One screen tap, one notification, one silent moment is all it takes to lose learning. And this is why we always say, do not use phone to teach. I've once observed the lesson during the early time of online teaching. I observed the lesson, the teacher was using phone beautifully, sliding down, going through. I didn't even know at first. It was so beautiful, and then boom, there was a WhatsApp message popped out, a personal WhatsApp message. And then the student was like, Miss, your WhatsApp message is there. It was something personal. And it disrupted the process. Sometimes such disruption could actually be all you need for that lesson to just become a passive lesson and not active anymore, because you've taken the students thinking, you've taken their focus. They're now thinking about the conversations. And when you get home or after your class, the only thing they can remember to discuss with their friends or their parents would be the conversation they saw there than seeing the learning that happened. So you need to be intentional about your active learning. But active learning is not all about, that little distraction is just one part of it. But let's focus on what really matters than, what doesn't matter. So what matters, if you're thinking about active learning, you have some activities where your learners get to predict. Your students are recalling. Recall is important. It's very important. Sometimes, as much, even though it's lower order thinking, but it's important. I was having conversation about memorization with someone, and I said, as much as we want to condemn memorization is important. Although memorization is not recall, it's not completely recall, but it's part of recall, but it's important. See why it's important. If you do not understand A, you cannot recall, you cannot understand A, you cannot recall A, you cannot see, know A when you see it. How would you be able to write ant? How would you be able to spell this? You can spell this because you have learned that this is A. You can remember that this is A. So if you're moving to the next step of learning, when you want to apply it, you want to apply these sounds, you need to apply the sounds that you can remember these sounds, then you can apply them to produce a word. When you've learned to produce these words, then you want to apply them in sentences, then there are other things that you also need to remember, you need to recall, you need to always remember that a sentence would importantly have a verb, would importantly end with a punctuation mark. And when you remember these things, you begin to use. Also think of BODMAS. Good thing is that most of this international exam for math, you're giving your formula book, you can see your formula. Well, think about, other places like the Asians, even in the Nigeria where you're not giving the formulas, you have to memorize them. So it's important you memorize them, you use them. It's not every time that you have to always go to the handbook to see, well, this is the meaning of this word to use it, or this is the formula that you need. So if this is important in your learning, you need to strategically structure this bit, right? Have a part where your learners are predicting, your learners are actively recalling, they are explaining concepts, they are applying, they are comparing, they are evaluating, they are creating, they are asking questions and reflecting. If I'm going to sum up Bloom's taxonomy, this is Bloom's taxonomy. If I'm going to sum it up, this is it. Because you start from the lower order thinking, and then you're going to the mid, and then you're going to the highest where your learners are creating and evaluating and judging and asking questions. Then you know that, okay, this guy has got there. You've got to that top of learning. For you to achieve active learning, this is another big training on its own. Again, to sum it, for you to achieve active learning, a good model or a smart model that I want to introduce you to is the 5E. The 5E creates room where learners are immediately thinking. And if you are not working already, you're not teaching online already, you intend to teach and you are applying during, and you have a session where you're going to model a class, please begin to think of presenting a lesson that follows this model. A lesson that begins with engaging, have that first slide where, or that first, whether it's a slide or whatever, means you want to deliver a lesson, is to spark curiosity. Let your observers or your learners, actually, honestly, for the sake of this training, my main goal is actually the learners, and also to help you secure a teaching role if it's part of what you're looking for. If you're looking for improving your practices, Bayesian. Think of getting your learners hooked. And the next one will be learners investigate, discover, and make sense. This is, a little bit unusual because usually what you have is when you spark curiosity, you tell them what the focus is, and then you explain and then get them to do. But this time you'd give them the material, give them the resources, and then get them to investigate. I'm going to give you just on a little bit what this means in practicality. So say you want to teach, let's use an English lesson. You want to teach an English lesson on descriptive writing. Let's say you want to teach descriptive writing. And then you have your hook where, you put in maybe a prompt or an image where you want them to use their sensory features to describe the things they can see around there. And then, they use their sensory features, they discuss, they just talk about all the things they can see. And then you give them a short writing and you tell them to read it up and then tell you what they think about this writing. You could give two writings actually. So one writing that has quite detailed description and you have another writing with, just about there. You tell them to compare. Which one helps you to imagine the scene better? And then they respond. You haven't even started teaching anything. You're just engaging with your learners. They've read this and they've compared and they've told you that this writing has more description than this. You've actually done a very huge work. You've achieved a very high level of learning. And then you come to explain where you begin your idea. So you introduce the key concept. So this is the key concept. This writing, you're able to imagine it because the author has used, or the writers use figurative languages or descriptive languages. And this is the concept that we're going to teach today. And then you model it, you model your thinking clearly, you show examples, you also have your guided activity within this explain part. To explain part, you have your I do here, and you also have your we do here. And then you have your elaborate. Your elaborate is where you have your I do. The learners apply words they explore, what they listen to you explain, or they also participated in during the explanation, and they begin to use these things to elaborate, to apply it, to produce learning, to respond to questions. Your questions that you've remember that what we talked about, using the Bloom's taxonomy to create a good question that progresses nicely. You use it to apply it to produce that level of questioning. And then lastly, you have your evaluation. There is no learning should end evaluation without evaluation, because if it does, you might be letting your learners to live with a misconception that sometimes would stay for so long. I had a misconception that I carried on for a very long time. It was something in biology, about what is it called? Is it platkets or platelets? Can't remember. But I always use platkets or platelets because it was a misconception that I carried for a very long time. The blood coating thing on the skin. So do not, let your learners to go to class without go home or stay too long without evaluation. Assess their learning, provide feedback, and reflect. Questions, there are some good questions. I'm sure Miss Blessing will share these with the community, these part here. So you see some questions that would guide you, questions on what will hook your learners, what will learners experience. So these are the questions that you'd be asking when you're doing these, set some questions that will help you to know the kind of resources that you're planning to meet the ease of the learning, right? And there are some important notes for your learners' cognitive engagement. Notes like code calling when you're teaching. There are some of these randomly selected selection that you could, call learners to ask questions or even to get their responses. During this conversation, I intentionally call on some, use some teacher's name for example, because I want you to see that I see you. So, you could do these things in class, randomly call him. Sometimes you might be calling him for questions. You might be calling him to, acknowledge, like I said, write lesson, and then you're calling on their attention. You could do this. You have your mini whiteboards. If it's in in a classroom, you have mini whiteboards. One of the favorite things that I have. For online, I tell my learners to get post-its. It's part of something that I want them to have a lot. Those post-it notes. I tell them to have it because I'm part of those that agree in the science of writing. When you write some things, it helps to recall. So for all those drafts and important points, we write it on the post-it note and then we paste it somewhere or even in the notebook. So you can do that in place of your whiteboard. Then you have your retrieval practice, like your recall before reteaching. You have your live polling. You can use Zoom for that. There are also, if you're not teaching on Zoom, there are some beautiful polling site that you can use to set your poll and then you can ask it. Annotate. I've not made some annotation, but I've been drawing on this screen here because I just wanted you to follow my pen. So annotate and for make meaningful annotation. Let your learners see how what a meaningful annotation means. Make up share texts and images, and then you have your life pieces in class where you have low stake immediate scoring. Recall when I said earlier that some gamifications have their purposes. So you can see life quizzes. If you were using live quiz for your main lesson, you might want to rethink your approach because these things are big feedback for you to instantly, sum your lesson or get them excited about learning, not for your main activity, right? And we're rounding up. And then you have your retrieval is more powerful than rereading. Retrieval practice, spacing, these are important learning science principles. You have spacing where you revisit. So, and the good thing about any learning content you're teaching, if you intentionally design it, if you look at all the established design one, you see the intentionality where you'd have this skill taught here, and along the line, you would see that skill intentionally brought forward, a part of it so that you'd reteach it without having to go back on the scheme. For example, in English, you'd have maybe you're doing narrative writing, and part of the grammar features grammar skill that you want to use would be adjective adverbs. And then next time you have something on recount writing, and then you're bringing in that adjective and adverb. So you see how you intentionally reteach those things, but in a different scenario. So it's important to bring in spacing. You have interleaving, especially during revision. you have interleaving, because in real life, learning does not go this way. In real life, learning goes this way, right? So if you're going to cook, you're not going to continue to put water and water and water. There's going to be a point where you'd have to pause to put your salt, you pause to put your ingredient, to put this, to put that. So you need to use interleaving. Linking this to learning, it means that during revision, so you might have a question on addition, the next question you have on multiplication, and then something you have on fraction, you have it interleave without having to chunk it, right? You don't have to always put it, say we're doing all these numbers addition. What this does when you put it in this way is that you build in pattern. You know, as soon as they get the pattern, they follow that. But in real life, also in exam, it doesn't follow this pattern. So if they're going to see this in exam, then perhaps in class you need to also use interleaving. But again, not just because of exam, because of retention. Learning science has proven that interleaving helps a lot with retention than blocking learning. And you have generation effects where you're producing an answer beat reading one, and you have testing effects, and you have dual coding where you combine words with visual. Very important. There are some lesson content you want to teach, you know, you bring in visuals, you combine it with a write-up, you know, to help understanding. And you have chunking. Chunking is just the opposite, a little bit opposite of interleaving. Why this is important for assessment, this is important for instruction. So if I'm going to teach this skill, I'm breaking it down into manageable units. So these are the things that we're going to teach. These are what we're going to focus. We're going to, you know, learn this block of skill, and then get to this point, we're going to mix them up to achieve interleaving. And you have elaboration. All these things would help you to achieve active learning. Like I said, active learning is such a huge conversation because, you know, you have to do it to feel it, right? One important key that I want you to take away from active learning is less teaching, more thinking. But again, what happens during less teaching? I hear teachers say a lot, you know, when I come on social media, I say, oh, in the class, do not talk so much. Don't be the person talking so much. It's good. But when you're not talking, what is happening? What is happening? It matters what is happening. I can't just say, oh, okay, so teachers are not talking, and then I go there and, you know, but I'm just sit down there and I'm watching you struggling. No, you're stepping aside to observe, to support, to guide, you know, to identify misconception, to correct those misconceptions, not to go away, be part of the learning. And this is where online learning has a little bit edge over, not even a little bit. I mean, I feel like online learning has a lot of edge, but this is where it has, you know, a little bit edge than physical learning. Because if it's in a physical classroom, your learner can literally be sharing their screen, and then you're observing, you're immediately seeing their thinking through how they respond. Sometimes I even say to my learners, I need you to think aloud. I want to see through your thinking. So you could do that. Don't just be observing and then you're waiting until the end of the 20 minutes to discuss misconception that started from the first one. So step aside, observe, and give it back. Lastly, we have high impact teaching habits. The daily discipline of expert educators. This is what differentiates expert educators and mediocrity educators. I'm sure that if you're here, you're definitely part of the expert educators. First one is planning backwards. Planning backward means before you even begin to plan the lesson, what is that thing that you want your learners to achieve? What is that end goal? So if you have your end goal, if my end goal is for my learners to be able to respond to this type of question or to do this type of writing, it's going to inform how, you know, you plan your lesson, how your lesson progress. That's what backward design. Again, it's another big conversation I implore you to, you know, research, learn about backward planning. It's a very important planning that helps you to achieve active learning. And then checking understanding frequently. Please never assume, never say that, oh, I think this learner's done this. Always verify. And you have questioning techniques, open, targeted, problem questions, and you have life assessment, you have adaptive teaching, and you have adaptive teaching where you adjust your plan mid-lesson when needed. Please do not be the kind of teacher that you're how do I say, like you feel you have this need that I must complete this learning path the way I put it. So you've designed a lesson, you've come into a class, you've designed a lesson on, and then you've seen that from the start, my learner can respond to all these questions. My learner already has known the skill because it happens online. And then you see yourself teaching what the learner has already known. It's horrible. Don't do that. During lesson, you've designed lesson, and from how your learner respond, you can see that they already have a mastery of this skill. Challenge them for that. There are always more questions or more skill that they can learn within that topic to challenge them for that. At no point should you have one skill, 20 questions. So you have 20 question addition of 2-digit numbers without renaming, and you have the 20 questions. There's no need to do that. You're just teaching them to follow pattern. Challenge them further. And this is why I always say Bloom's taxonomy is what you always need. And then you have reducing cognitive overload. I don't know how many of you love this slide. It was intentionally designed to reduce cognitive, overload. What cognitive overload means is your students are coming into class and then they're seeing your slide and they're seeing notes. You know what happens? You want to see this. It's a lot of things. There are a lot of pictures. So you have a lot of pictures. You have lots of writing. I see it in a lot of slides I see these days. One slide, plenty pictures, plenty notes, no. It has to be each slide, learning slide should be intentional. Even pictures, it should be intentionally planned. So have one clear focus at a time. Even in your instruction, you can't be saying too many things at the same time. You're saying this, you've not landed, you're saying this. Have to be your focus. And then managing attention, building routine, psychological safety, and productive struggle. Have all of these. And finally, your bonus resources. There are some resources that I think you might want to, put on your bookmark, like Nearpod, edX, Quizzes, Kahoot, Lookie, Whatwall, Padlet. Especially if you're teaching a group class, you want to use Padlet, Menti, Meta, and some assessment tools like Google Form. I think everybody should use Google Form. It's free. And it does the same thing as Microsoft Form. And then you have Socrative as well. You have Flickrs and for me, T. I would also want to mention that please, it is not about using more tools. It's about finding the tools that work for you and use it best. I'm using this, I'm using some of these tools actually do similar things. So find the one that you align with and then use it and use it best. You can use Canva for your engagement. You can use Genially. You can use Classroom Screen, Wheel of Names, Flippity, one of my favorites again, you could use. An AI tool. I am also one of the teachers that loves AI. And I say to teachers, please love AI. AI is there to, make your work easier, to help you to improve your delivery. And some good AI tool that you can use is ChatGPT. It's almost free. You have the free version that can actually help you achieve some things. And you have a very cheap version, I think for 7,000 that you can use. You have Claude as well. You have Google Gemini, which is also free. You have Notebook LM. You have Magic School AI, Difty, Brisket Teaching. Quite a lot of them there. So find the one that you could use that suits your scenario or and then use it. And again, use it intentionally. Use it to plan your lesson. Review when you use AI. English teachers, when you're using AI to design your reading comprehension, please read it. Make sure that the text, makes sense. The quality of the text is the kind of quality that you want your learners to learn. And when you're using it for reviewing assessment, because you can use it to review assessment, please read the review and be sure that it's correct. Because sometimes AI can hallucinate. Even though it has improved so much, I still see a couple of hallucinations here and there. So please ensure that you're, perusing, reviewing, and using the right content. And there are some sites, again, some resources that I think you would love. I think you should actually use all of these, honestly. Every single one here, please use them. Use BBC Byte. It has good simulation. It also has good short videos. Oak National Academy has beautiful slides they can use. Most of the slides for math have problem-solving questions. I love to use them. Use Khan Academy, the CK tool, felt simulation, science teachers, you want to use that. Common lead, especially if you're teaching US-based students, you can use it for your reading comprehension or those short text, short, not story, just short stories. Yeah, not short text, short stories. Have read theory as well. I have Oxford out, especially if you're teaching key stage one student reading. Those year group reading. You can get them there. Those CVC words and coded books. You can get them on in Oxford Owl. And that will be all for today. Thank you so much. And do not forget, teach less, think more, and motivate. Your conversation to always be around motivation. So thank you so much for joining. And at this point, I'm going to, pause to take questions and respond to your questions. And yes, Miss Blessing, I think I'm just going to stop here for a while.
Okay. Thank you, Ma. In fact, when I said I meant it when I said I don't know anything. I'm actually learning. I learned a lot. Thank you so much, Miss Stella. You were able to, in fact, I would say you were able to give us a lot. While we're waiting for questions, if you have questions, go ahead. You could use the chat, whether you're watching from the live stream. I still have over 50 people watching from the live stream. So whether you're watching from the live stream or you are watching or you are on the Zoom call, I would like you to go ahead and ask questions. Those of you that want to ask questions, you can actually either raise your hands or use the chat to ask your questions. I'm going to answer. But then I want to just talk about a few things. Miss Stella, give me a moment. So Miss Stella, just hold on, please. Just give me a moment. I'm going to call you shortly, right? The major thing I would say I got today, well, I'm still going to come to that. Everyone is going to tell me what they got today, right? But the major thing I would say I got today was when you said empathy more than sympathy, I started reflecting on myself and I was wondering, Blessing, are you sure you don't need to sympathize more than you used to emphasize? Because the empathy thing, right? Sometimes we truly teachers sympathize more than empathize because if you put yourself in the child's shoes, you begin to think how the child is feeling when they're frustrated, right? And I was trying to relate it to one of my students that I was thinking, okay, maybe that's what you're doing. And that's the reason why you're not getting it right with this particular student. So I really got that from today. Thank you so much, ma'am. Again, you also mentioned about another thing I got very well in my head, right? Was the over scaffolding. Because when you were talking about some things, I was trying to relate them to my students, like I'm trying to relate them to the way I teach in class and the students I have, the ones that are doing well and the ones that are not, the ones that do well in class. And then when you give them a test, they begin to fail. And then you're wondering, we just did this now, you got it. So, yeah, I just realized that over scaffolding is a problem. I think that I'm also going to work on. So you could see there's a lot to always learn from you, Miss Stella, and I am really, really grateful that I have you here. So I'm just going to take a few questions from here. I'm going to take 3 from here or 2 from here, and then I'm going to take 2 from the live stream, so you can answer. And this is just to refer back to the first question that we had here from Mr. Kola. Mr. Kola, did you get Mr. Kola, is he here? Hello, Mr. Kola, if you're here, show of hands, please. Am I sure he's here? Okay, he's here. Yeah, Mr. Kola, so I'm sure that with everything that Mr. has said, you've gotten answers to your question when you asked about what online companies are looking for to see from start to bottom. So I'm sure she cleared that, but if you have any question, please, you could still go ahead and ask. Okay, Miss Stella, you raised your hand. Go ahead, unmute your microphone and then just quickly ask your question in 1 minute. Unmute, ma'am, so that you can ask your question. Those of you on the live stream, please go ahead, put your question in the comments. I'm going to read them out so she can answer your questions as well. Go ahead, Miss Stella.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for this wonderful training. I really, really appreciate. So my question is, when Stella was actually teaching, she said sometimes some students during online teaching, they get overwhelmed and you need to not just sympathize, you need to empathize, but you don't really need to like ask them directly what is their issue. So how do you like engage someone who is maybe exhausted from schoolwork and is just looking at you like, okay, what are you going to do? Like how do you make the learner to come out of without asking the issue or the problem that they are facing? Like, how do you bring them out of that zone? Because in classes, you see them sometimes when they come from their homes with various issues, it takes a lot. So, the online, when you said that, I think that was a little bit scary for me.
Uh, I mean, I've had questions like this before. So yes, I should say that again, you don't, you know, query them too much because they might begin to overshare. You know how children are. But a simple, are you okay? It's fine, right? A simple, are you okay? Oh, you don't look as bright as before, as always. Are you okay? And then they could tell you, I'm exhausted. Do you have a long day at school? Just simple check-in, it's fine, but then it doesn't get so deeper. There are some conversations that you don't want to nudge them to go deeper that way, especially in a group class, right? Sometimes you could use the chat to get them um, to share. But other than that, what can you do? Is actually your instruction. So you planned your lesson with a new concept that could be complicated, and you know the level of this learner, you know the kind of response, you know the learning ability, their learning ability. You probably need to adjust your learning. So we're going to start this lesson with some low stake activity. Maybe we could do a little bit of gamification activity before we get on to the main task, just to get them to relax. Or we can do a little bit of, quizzes before we begin. Or you know what, we can do hot sitting lessons. So you're going to be asking me questions. You can ask me questions. You could do just change just a little bit, change the start of your lesson to get them to want to learn before you begin to do those difficult parts of the learning. And if a learner, begin to talk about some things with you, please do not be the teacher because I said do not ask. Don't be the person that wants to instantly shush them. There are some things that you can. Oh, have you told mom about this? Have you told your dad about this? Right? Like refer them to show them that you care, and if they go ahead to share with you, please always relate to these things to the parents. If it's something that you're not sure of how to relate with your parents, inform your employers, and your employers will be the best way to handle situations like this, to communicate this to the parents. But yes, if a child is strongly overburdened, lesson might not happen if you're not able to you know um if you're not able to make the environment to suit the environment before you begin to teach. Does that respond to your question now?
Okay, yes, it did. Okay, thank you so much, man. Let me read one question, man. Is that okay, Mr. Kola, give me a moment. Let me read one from the live stream. I'm gonna take this from Francis. Francis says, how can someone who doesn't like teaching but knows how to teach be an effective teacher?
Hmm, that's a good question, and I can relate to that question because I don't like preaching,
Mm,
and no, hold on, I like preaching. I don't know how to put it, but I don't think I could be an effective preacher. Each time I'm invited to preach, I say, if you invite me to preach, I'm going to preach my ideology, and you probably wouldn't like it. So the truth is, if you're going to teach, passion is important. Like I said, passion is not
no.
everything, but it's the first step. You have to really like it to do it, because teaching can be frustrating. It's enjoyable. I always say that teaching is my therapy, but then it can also be frustrating. If you don't like the job, you're going to see learners that get on your nerves, and how would you be able to tolerate that? You're going to have learners that would come to you and question your authority, question your knowledge. How would you be able to deal with that? So you need to really, like it. And if it's something you really want to do, but you haven't started liking it, I don't want to be the person that would judge you, but I want to, tell you, maybe allow yourself to want to like it, right? Allow yourself to really enjoy the experience of being a teacher. When you allow yourself, there's a thing about opening up your heart. So I'm going to enjoy this process. I'm going to listen to great teachers. I'm going to listen to great teachers. I'm going to watch, great teachers teach. I don't know if we have time. I would have, relayed something about my experience, but just in a nutshell, I never wanted to be a teacher. Growing up, I wanted to be anything aside being a teacher. But the first day I stepped into a school, I've never left school because I saw people that changed my mindset about teaching. I saw, intelligent people, qualified people, and I knew that I wanted to be one of these people. So allow yourself to want to like it. That's the first thing. And then we can talk about what it means for you to become effective. If that responds to your question. It's an interesting
Okay.
one. Huh?
Yeah, actually, looking at the question, I also thought of my younger sister. My younger sister teaches very well if she wants to teach, but she doesn't like teaching. But she will tell you that thing is not for me. But if you give her the room to, she teaches very well. So yeah, I could relate with that. Okay. Francis says yes, it answers his question. Thank you so much, Ma. All right. So Faith, let me ask Mr. Kola, then we'll take Mr. Philip raised his hand. I saw Mr. Philip's hand first before Mr. Kola asked for a question. And then we'll take Faith and then we'll end it. Please. I don't want us skipping my boss for too long. But let's start with Mr. Kola. Mr. Kola, Mr. Philip, sorry, your hand was up before Mr. Kola said he had a question. So Mr. Philip, please go ahead, ask your question quickly in 1 minute before we go to Mr. Kola. Go ahead, please. Mr. Philip is not here, is he? Please, can you unmute your microphone if he's not unmuting? Hey, I have 5 questions from Miss Faith. Hey, Mr. Kola, go ahead and ask It seems like Mr. Wait. Why is everybody's hand? Okay. Why is everybody's hand up? Okay, let's take one question from Mr. Kola. I have a very important message to drop for everyone. Yes, Mr. Kola, go ahead. Are you here? Please unmute your microphone and speak. Okay, yes, please.
Can you hear me? Okay.
We can hear you. Go ahead, please.
Good evening, Ma. Thank you so much for your time. Fantastic session. So 3 in 1 question real quick. My first question is this. What can teachers endeavor to do during trial classes or maybe recruitment session that will make recruiting agencies take them automatically? Do you understand? During trial classes with the students that will make parents consider them, then during the trial classes with recruiting agencies that would also get them employed. Second one is about students who don't do their assignments. Although most times you try and use game, but you now notice that they prefer you crafting your assignments into gaming formats, but you get tired of that. You can't keep on, trying to craft assignments as games. So how do we work around that? They won't do normal assignment that involves writing, but game, like form the question into games. He loves games a lot. Then the final question will ask you about OneNote, So I don't know if you can explain that one actually, whereby when they write on the screen, it takes a couple of seconds. I don't know if from my own end, before you see what they've written on the screen. Is there a way around that? So that's it. Thank you, Ms. B.
Thank you. Okay, so let's take it one at a time. About what recruiters would see, and then to make them want to take you immediately. Recruiters want to see that parents would want to keep you. I'll put what I said about parents. Parents want to see that their learners are learning. They want to see school. They want to see results. So how would recruiters know that you are the kind of person that would give, parents the kind of things, the what they're looking out for, the motivations they're searching. Firstly would be your passion. Honestly, recruiters want to see your passion. We want to see that you are the teacher that, have the passion to learn, because like I said, if we have the passion to learn, then you're ready to tolerate and endure teach, children being children and supporting them. And then you see the subject knowledge is important. In fact, you can be supported to grow, to learn the strategies along the line, but subject knowledge is very important. It's another key skill. You can't say that you're teaching English and then you cannot analyze a good text, or you cannot, respond to good math questions as a math question. So you need to have the subject knowledge. So if you want to teach online or you're already teaching, the first thing you want to tell yourself the truth. What subjects can I teach? And then the third and the last one would be strategy. It's actually an added bonus point. So you have passion, you have subject knowledge. For a system, for a company that's big on also supporting teachers and training teachers like HighPrep, you would obviously consider passion and subject knowledge first, and then support you with strategies, right? Because these are part of things that you get. But if it's a competitive role, you have many teachers, because most times you have many teachers applying for the same role, your strategy would be an important thing as well. So what are those strategies? Can you use some of these tools, the basic tools? Can you teach online? Can you annotate? Can you share screen? Can you, engage students and not bring in too many things to the slide that it's already bringing cognitive overload from seeing it. So they want to see effectiveness and how you're able to, progress your learning into beats. And all these things, remember, it's usually a short period, say 20 to 30 minutes. So you're able to manage this 20 minutes and focus on what that matters than trying to do many things at the same time. And the next one is on OneNote. I remember you said OneNote. I can't remember the second one. I'll probably think of it. But you mentioned OneNote. If you're teaching an exclusive class, the easiest thing for you to do is to get your learner to share your screen when you're working. So if you're working independently, because two of you cannot be working at the same time. If you're working on your slide, the learner is obviously, seeing your slide. If the learner is working independently, you can tell them to share their screen. Then if it's a group class where you need to, go through their slides and go through their OneNote one after the other, then what you can do would be so what you can do, would be to, firstly try to use the app. OneNote app it's better. When you use the app, there's a part where you'd have to, at the right, you left click to synchronize. When you synchronize, you see what they're doing pop up, and tell them to also enter their work, because most time when they're typing, you don't see progress immediately. So let them enter their work and also update. So if they're refreshed, you get to see their work immediately. So you could do that. And for your work. I can't remember the second question, Miss V. What was that?
Oh, sorry. He said when you use assignments as games over and over again, that you can't keep doing that. That was another way to motivate the learner, so that you don't always do games as assignments.
Yeah, that's very true. I remember you said that. So for homework, for assignments, you want to have conversation with the parents to understand the child's schedule. There are some students that have very tight schedules. You probably are not able to do homework. So you can just do like study. So find out from the parents, do you have more homework? Does he have time, or does he or she have time to complete homework? Now, if they do have time to have homework, so we've ruled out the possibility of them procrastinating or doing other things aside homework, then give them homework that are manageable. Don't give too many things. Remember, homework is just for consolidation or recall. The main learning is happening. You just want them to consolidate learning. Give them the number of homework they can do. If your students like to use gamification, you did mention that it's time consuming. It's actually not time consuming. You have AI, and then AI is actually built into some of all these gaming tools. You use AI inside those tools to build the game, and then it's your resources. You can always use it and just adjust where necessary to keep them, If not, please give manageable homework and also spice up your homework. Sometimes your homework can be conversation. Okay, go to your parents and reiterate the things that we've learned. Or if it's an English lesson, interview your parents on these and then get their responses. Your homework should not always be, go write a story, go write an essay, spice it up, make it fun for them and manageable size. And always, when during your post lesson feedback, communicate this with your parent, with the parent, tell them if he has homework on this, you can find the homework here. The homework is on this page of their OneNote, and give feedback. Please always, tick up their homework. Let them see that you're assessing their homework, because if you don't access homework, then they won't be motivated to do the homework the next time. Maybe this
Okay.
response to you. Yeah.
All right. All right. I think that answers the question, Mr. Kola. Mr. Philip, just give me a moment. All right. So someone says here that as a beginner, it feels a lot to take in. This was insightful. What are the major steps to start? Okay. So I'm going to use this to also introduce her course or her training that is going to start this month, starting on the 12th, 13th, and 14th. I want to plead with you all, if you can remember, there was a part that she was teaching where she talked about the I do, you do, and we do method, and it was a lot. Sometimes we think we know it, but we don't know it. I am actually going to actually enroll for the program. So please, if you can, it's going to be a 3 days program. I am the one bringing it up to you all now. There is going to be a 3 days program on the 12th, 13th, and 14th. It's going to run from 11 a.m. I think I'm going to share it on the WhatsApp channel. I'm also going to share it on the WhatsApp group, so you guys can actually plan to join this training. Trust me, if there's anything, like I said, whether you're a math teacher, you're a science teacher, as you can see, she even shared tools that we're also going to use in our classes. I'm trying, but I've seen Miss Stella is like 10 steps ahead of me. So please, if you can, put yourself together this period, see it as an investment. Let me put it this way. You know, Miss Blessing will always tell you, training is never a waste. I will always tell you the truth. Training is never a waste. So if you can see it as an investment, it's going to pain you, yes, paying the money, but please, I'm going to advise you, go for this training. She talked a lot about what's it called? The feed forward. I didn't even know I knew there was feed forward, but I didn't really understand what feed forward is. I always talk about feedback. Maybe I'll do another video on feed forward. She talked about feed forward. She talked about what's it called? Empathy. There's a lot that she mentioned that I think she needs to explain in depth to us. And so if you're new to the space and you're confused about these things that she has mentioned, or you don't know what to do, please, I will advise you that you enroll for the training. The link to the training is going to be dropped on the WhatsApp channel and on the WhatsApp group, so you can have access to it. If you can invest in this, I will plead with you to do that. Is that okay? I'm going to take one more question so I can let her go. I'm so sorry. Every other person's hand that is up, people should forgive me. I'm just going to take one more person's question, and then I'm going to, please, she has talked 2 hours already. If it's me now, I know I can go 4 hours. I wouldn't mind, but please. Okay. All right, let's take from Mr. Philip, and then I'm also going to take from the person that put the question in the chat, and then we'll see what we have. All right, Mr. Philip, please go ahead. Just one question, please. One question. One question, Mr. Philip. If Mr. Philip does not ask his question now, I will just call. Okay, so while Mr. Philip is yet to ask his question.
Hello. Hello, I'm coming. Yeah,
I can hear you
madam.
now.
Hello,
Yes, sir.
madam.
Please go ahead.
Thank you. Will you put your lecture, the slide, in a note form on the WhatsApp platform for us?
Okay, I will try to do that. Okay, that's the question you wanted to ask. The slide is her.
So that
The slide is her property. If you want to go through, you have to watch the YouTube live on the channel. I'm going to put the video on my YouTube, so you could go back and rewatch the video on the YouTube channel. Okay, so the video is going to be there. Go ahead,
So
Mr.
please,
Philip.
will you put it? I'm saying, will you put it on? Would you put it on the WhatsApp platform so that you're able to read through over and over for better understanding?
Okay, I will try my best. I'll try my best, sir. Thank you.
For reinforcement. For reinforcement.
Okay, sir. I'll try my best. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Okay, so Miss Faith says, please, but how do one make lesson notes in a please, Miss Faith, for this question, you will have to watch the YouTube. I have a YouTube video on how to make lesson notes. Please, you have to go and watch that on my YouTube channel. I wouldn't stress her to answer that question. And how can one teach all subjects? One cannot teach all subjects, Miss Faith. I remember when Miss Stella was talking, she said niching down. So you have to niche down. You can't teach all subjects in the online space. So it's either you're teaching EYFS and Key Stage 1 or you're teaching Key Stage 2. Just niche down. Think of what you know you can teach best and the class you can teach best and answer and actually what's it called? Teach that class. Number 3, say for one who's a newbie in teaching and can't do well in using a laptop, how can she? You have to learn. There's no these questions you have to learn how to use it. Okay, you have to learn how to use the tools. You could watch videos, you could go on YouTube. YouTube is like a personal school. If you don't want to pay for training, you can watch videos, or like I said, you can actually pay for training and get helped. Okay. Yeah. Number 4, does the learner use system or write paper as their writing material? I ask it because I'm wondering how the learner could see the writings or work of the learner. Okay, so I want to believe, Miss Faith, I want to believe you're new to the online teaching space. So there are 2 things I'm going to advise you to do, because these questions you're asking are questions that can easily be answered either by watching YouTube videos, my YouTube videos, or enrolling for a training. Okay, these questions are questions that you could use either by understanding the training and joining the training or watching YouTube videos. So I won't dwell so much on them. Okay. Mr. Shekun says, what strategies can a first-year online tutor use to attract international students through short-form content without depending on tutoring agencies? Okay. Mr. do you want to answer this, or should I go ahead and answer this? Because it's on content.
Um, well, I know you'd have good responses, but if I'm gonna say anything about, short content is firstly understanding the need, what parents would probably, need. Always understand what's, would be a pain for parents. So if you understand what would possibly be their pains, then you want to, be the solution to those pains. I know that there are some, tutors out there that do some really short, amazing things that I find them useful for my children. And either I watch them, or if I have need to, contact them to have further conversation, I could do that. So if you're able to, provide conversations that respond or that supports parents to, support their needs, their pains, then obviously they will support you wherever their location is, whether international or local. They're able to contact you.
Okay. All right. And to add to that, think of your what's it called? Yeah, think of or put yourself in the place of the parent, right? If you're a parent, what kind of content would you like to see that can make you actually pick a teacher? Okay, or say, okay, I want this teacher to be my child's tutor. Do you understand? So put yourself, think like the parent is also going to help you. And then maybe you could also share tips on learning tips and all of that. That is also going to help you. Miss Caroline, like I said, it's still the same thing. Grade 2 or year 2 is the same thing. Grade 2, year 2. Okay. Please go and use. I have a video on Miss Caroline. Please check my videos on understanding different countries' curriculum. You'll be able to get that understanding very well. Okay, Patrick Udoma says, thank you very much. Not much knowledge gained today. I'm grateful. All right. Thank you so much, Ms. Stella. Please, everyone plan to join the master class, how to be an effective teacher. Just like you said, if you really want to stand out in this our online space, you cannot do it without training. Those of you that would say, okay, I can do it, you cannot do it without training. Okay. So please ensure that you get trained. Get ready. August 12th to 14th. The link is going to be in the WhatsApp channel and the WhatsApp group as well. Ms. Stella, thank you so much. Before we all leave, everyone on the live stream and everyone here, what is one thing that you learned today that you're taking home? Please use the chat. One thing that you're taking home today that you learned. All right. That's where we're going to wrap up for today. We've all tried. We have all tried. And again, I would say everything she said, she rushed through it. I'm going to be sincere. She rushed through every single slide. And if you really want to understand all the things that she has said, go for the training, rewatch the video as well. It's going to help you to understand, because especially when she was talking about teaching strategies. I was wondering, I was asking myself, Blessing, are you sure you're putting all of these things in your classes, right? But I know I've talked about Bloom's taxonomy on the live stream before. So you guys should just get yourself ready, watch again, enroll for the training, and let's see how we can move forward in the online space. Like I always say, people are making money here. You have to just be good at what you're doing and make your money. There is one thing I will never forget that Miss Stella told me when I joined the first day she did my interview. Immediately she finished my interview, she said, Miss Blessing, do you know what? I said, well, stay on this space, you make a lot of money. And that word, I can never forget it. And truly, I have made money that I have never touched before, just being online and following Miss Stella. So please, I'm going to give you all that same instruction or that same word of advice or that same word of knowledge. Like, stay on this space. You are going to make a lot of money. Do not run away from it. Okay. Mr. Kola said he learned engaging learners, the 5E models of learning. That 5E, I'm still learning it. Auntie English says, thank you so much, Miss B. Parents are driven by results. Thank you. Thank you so much, Ma. I learned a lot, and one of it is not to sympathize with the learner, but show empathy. You can sympathize, but not so much. Empathy should be more than the sympathy. I think so, right, Miss Stella? Right? Or we should not sympathize at all.
Sympathize, but it's not enough.
Okay.
Empathy
So it's not.
Okay.
Empathy is better. Okay. So Mr. Shaigu said, I really learned about motivation from parents and students are important. And I added, I learned about the real difference between sympathy and showing empathy. Okay, thank you so much. To emphasize more, reduce cognitive over. Thank you. And understand what parents and learners need at all. Oh, see, people learned here. Oh, are you all seeing that you all learned? Thank you so much, Miss Stella. I'm going to draw the curtains here. Thank you. Mr. Philip, please, you can ask me any question you want to ask in the WhatsApp. I will answer.
Yes,
All right?
I
Okay.
learned of the two pillars of effective online teacher. I learned of the two pillars of effective online teacher. Parents motivation and students motivation.
Thank you, sir. That's good. That's good. Okay, so thank you, Miss Stella. God bless you. And I'm hoping that I will see all of you or most of you in the training that she's going to do on the 12th to 14th. I will drop the link now on the WhatsApp channel. And if you are watching from the YouTube, please, if you have not joined the WhatsApp channel or the WhatsApp group, please send a DM. Go to the link in my bio. Okay, go to the link in my bio and you will see the DM, my WhatsApp link. Please click on it so that you can be added and you can see the link for Miss Stella's training. All right. Thank you, Miss Stella. God bless you. I really appreciate you. And we'll talk at the backyard. Thank you so much, Ma.
Thank you so much
All
for
right.
joining, everyone. And you have a
Thank
beautiful
you.
evening.
Thank you.
Good night.
Yes, thank you
Yeah.
so much. Good night, Ma. All right. Okay. So everyone, thank you for joining. I appreciate you all for joining. Yes, you learned that all the words, Miss Patience. What did you learn? That all the words. Okay, so thank you everyone. I'm going to end the live stream now. Okay, do not over. Okay, some people are still sending message here. Do not over scaffolds. Yes, very good. Do not over scaffold. That's another thing that we learned as well. Yeah. Thank you so much, everyone. I'm going to draw the curtains. Good night, everybody. Please, if you missed any parts, just come back and watch it again. If you're looking for an online tutoring job, remember she said something about the E models. Follow it. Use it to create your slide. Use it to create your what's it called? Yeah, use it to create your slide and use it to create your what do I call it now? Yeah, use it to create your slide, use it to create your lesson plan. It's going to help you. Trust me. She also even talked about, yeah, things that companies are looking out for. So please use all of these things. We've learned them today. And if you can, I will beg you, go for her training. I will not my own is quite good because in the company where she's my boss, right? The company we're working for, she does trainings for us monthly, on a monthly basis. She does trainings for us. So I follow the trainings, right? But if you can, please enroll for her training. In fact, I will always encourage it. Please, if you can, go for a training. All right. Thank you so much, everybody. It was good having you all here. You did not fall my hands at all. And I'm trusting that those of you who had questions, you can always ask me on WhatsApp and I will answer. Okay, and please rewatch the video. The video is going to be available for members. So if you want to rewatch, you can always go ahead and rewatch it. All right. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Miss Uju. Thank you, Miss Esther. Yeah, who was the person asking that question? Miss Faith. Yeah, Miss Faith, you're new to the online. It's obvious you're new to the online. What's it called? Yeah. So please, you could enroll for training. You're going to learn all of these things faster. All right. Thank you, everybody. See you next week Sunday. Okay. And August training is starting on Saturday. All right. Bye, everyone. Bye.